Hey everybody, hope you guys are doing good. Got a new review for you today. Just saw James Wan's newest horror movie the other day, The Conjuring. And if you don't know who James Wan is, he brought us the original Saw movie, which I liked, and then it went downhill. He brought us Dead Silence, Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon, which I didn't like those two films. Insidious was pretty good, and he's doing Insidious 2 and Fast and Furious 7. So now that we got that out of the way, his most recent film is going to be The Conjuring, and it stars Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson. And they're basically these paranormal hunters, I guess, or exorcists. But it takes place in the 70s, and this is all supposedly based on a true story. The family's name's the Warrens, and the problem with this movie, I felt at its core, was it's not that bad of a film, but the problem that it did have was that it has two families in it. You have the Warrens, who are the paranormal investigators, exorcists, and then you have the Perrons, which is the family that's having problems with the spirits. And that's the main problem with this film, is somehow those two families didn't mesh that good. I think it was too many characters, basically. They could have definitely cut out some of the characters. But let me tell you the parts I liked. I liked the idea that it was like took place in the 70s. So, you know, you didn't have all your modern equipment. You got to see them basically ghost hunting with retro equipment, analog equipment. I thought that stuff was pretty cool. Vera Farmiga's character is awesome. She's a good character. I have kind of like a bias. I like her. But her character was interesting. I wish they would have done more with her character. They failed to explain fully her clairvoyant powers. She's supposed to be a clairvoyant. That's another thing one thing that was going on too much with this movie. They had a killer puppet. They had a clairvoyant. They had several ghosts. Let me get back to what I did like about it. The final horror sequence, or the final act of horror in the movie, I thought was pretty cool. It's I don't want to go into too many spoilers, but it kind of boils down to wind up being a possession scene, and that was pretty cool, but it broke down really quick. I mean, at the end they kind of shoehorned a lot of stuff in, and that takes me to the things I didn't like about it. James Wan, basically, I think what he was trying to do with this film was make like a 70s style horror movie. Right at the beginning, you see the title of the film, and it just kind of gives you that 70s feel. And of course, the movie takes place in the 70s. First thing I didn't like was that the 70s clothes, I thought, were a little overdone. It felt a little bit like dress up. I thought the costuming definitely was a little overdone. I mean, then it's a completely slow burn, which was fine, but it never went anywhere. You never knew the motivations of the ghost, really, what they were. I mean, I guess the intention of the ghost was to kill children or something. I have no idea. It was kind of a weak motivation. The backstory on the ghost was kind of weak. And like I said, at the core, the main problem was the two families not really mixing. At the beginning, I really liked the beginning because they show another case the Warrens are doing. It shows Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson working on another case, and that part was really cool. That's where they bring in the crazy puppet. But then they tried to bring in the puppet later, and then that didn't make sense. And then another cool thing was that they had like a room full of objects, kind of like that old show Friday the 13th. And I was thinking, oh no, sequel, franchise, here we go. They're going to show backstories on all these items. And at the end of the movie, I was like, that's where they need to take this if they want to make another movie, because this one kind of failed at the ending. I didn't like the motivations of the ghosts. I just thought it was too many characters. I mean, they had like 5 daughters in the family, and I know it's based on a true story, so I guess you want to have an accurate number, but it was totally unnecessary. They could have had like 2 daughters. That's all they really needed. And like I said, they had no character development because your attention was divided between the Warrens and the Perrons, so you really couldn't build up any. I think they should have stuck with the Warrens because Vera Farmiga's character was a lot better, and Patrick Wilson's character was a lot better. You know, supposedly he's supposed to be the only guy that could do an exorcism outside, a ordained priest or whatever. So it did have some parts that worked, I thought. So, I mean, I could see them making a sequel. I just didn't like this one. And kind of in a funny note, we were at the screening where they record people's reactions, and so they were doing interviews after and stuff, and we declined, any type of interview because we really didn't like it when we saw it. So, I don't know, I'm not really recommending it at all. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars because I think it's like a quality meal, but it's just nothing special, nothing new, and they screwed up by dividing the story up into too many characters, basically. So, yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I don't really have that much fond stuff to say. The more I think about it, originally I was 3.5 out of 5, but the more I think about it, it's just kind of lackluster film in general. Nothing great. All right, guys, let me know what your favorite haunting possession movie is and what you thought about James Wan's career so far and where you think it's headed. I think he's gonna be kind of like a modern John Carpenter. I don't think he's really gonna ever hit John Carpenter heights because his horrors aren't as good. But I think Saw was good. All right, I'm out of here. See you guys soon. Bye.